Are you brand new to the world of generators? Are you just looking to pick up your very first generator? Well, today we are going to cover 10 questions you can ask yourself to help you better understand what type of generator you might need. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. Back with another generator video for you. Real quick, you want to know more about me? toolmantim.co. Run by there, find it all out. Okay, so you are here because either you're looking to buy your first generator, you know nothing about generators, or you just want to learn a little bit more about generators. So I put together a list of 10 questions you can ask yourself to figure out what type of generator you need. So real quick, let's cover the type of generators that you might be looking at. First thing you've got a standard generator. That's just kind of those open frame, usually gas powered, but not always gas powered type generators. First, the pros. They tend to have more power than the inverter generators, and they tend to be the cheapest all around for wattage option. The cons, they're loud, they're heavy, they tend to use a lot of fuel, and the power can be rather dirty. Next is the inverter generators. They tend to be quiet. The power tends to be clean. They tend to be a little bit smaller. The cons of the inverter generators, well, they tend to be smaller. They tend to have less power. They tend to be a little more expensive. Then you have your whole home, fully installed permanent generator. Pros of that, of course, automatically comes on, tends to have enough power to run everything in your house, including central air. The cons, of course, they're permanently installed. You can't move them. You need large fuel storage on hand, and they're really, really expensive. Now, let's cover the brands real quick. Tends to be 3 tiers. Top tier, top quality, highest expense. Tend to be Honda and Generac for the most part. Then you have your middle of the road. Really good quality, middle of the road cost. Those are things like Furman, like Champion, like Westinghouse, and like Predator. And then you have the bottom of the barrel, the absolute cheapest, the ones you see on sale, on clearance at Walmart. They tend to be brands you don't recognize. They just tend to be kind of knockoff imported generators, a whole bunch of the same types with the cheapest parts available and with names you really don't recognize. What do I need for a generator? Here's 10 questions you can ask yourself. Hopefully this will take you through a process and help you figure it out. Number 1, what's my budget? How much money can I spend? How much money am I willing to spend on a generator so that it doesn't put me in the poorhouse? Don't spend out of desperation or fear. Always buy a generator when you don't need a generator, because when everybody wants a generator, you're going to spend more money on it. Don't just run out and say, I need to fix a problem, I got to buy it. Figure out how much you have to spend. Use your credit card points. Do what I did. Use your Costco rebate check, whatever it is to help stretch your dollars a little bit more. But if this is your first generator, listen to me, don't buy a used generator to get started with. If this is your first one, you want something that shouldn't have any inherited problems from other users, and you want something with a warranty. Number 2, what do you want to run with your generator? You just want to run some lights, maybe a TV, and then maybe alternate between a fridge, a freezer, and a sump pump? Or do you want to run basically your entire house except for maybe, your dryer, your stove, and central air? Or hey, do you want to just be like normal and run everything all the time? The open frame standard style generators tend to have dirtier power, which can shorten the life or actually kill or just not be able to run some sensitive electronic. How much power do you need? Take a look at all the generators you're considering. First off, is it listing running watts or peak watts? A lot of the cheaper ones love to focus on those peak watts. And all that means is it'll run at a high wattage for a very short period of time. Look at the running watts. That's what you need to know, most importantly. Don't go any lower than 1,500 to 2,000 running watts, because what that'll do, if nothing else, it'll allow you to plug in at least one item, anything that can plug into a standard plug in your home. Maybe an air conditioner, maybe a space heater, whatever it is. 1,500 watts is the bare minimum. You don't have to run everything in your house. You can cycle through a bunch of different things. Run your fridge for a few minutes or an hour. Run your freezer for an hour or two. Then run your sump pump. Then cycle back through. You don't necessarily need a generator to run everything in your home. What type of fuel do you want to run? The standard ones out there, most common, is gasoline. Then you have propane. Then you have natural gas. And a little less common, but still fairly out there, is diesel generators. Or do you want a multi-fuel? Do you want a gas and propane? Do you want a propane and natural gas? Or do you want a tri-fuel like my Furman? propane, natural gas, and gasoline. Fuel storage. Can I store it safely? Gas takes up a lot of space and it's probably the least safe to store around. Do you have a natural gas outlet on the outside of your home, or do you have natural gas coming? Because that's a quote-unquote unlimited supply when the power goes out. Do you have a big propane tank on your property? Maybe you can tap into that for a generator, but give some consideration. If you want to store propane in 20 or 30 pound canisters, that can get really, really expensive. Or do you want to store 6 5-gallon jugs of gasoline and cycle through them? What type of fuel are you comfortable with storing? Where do you have a place to store that fuel? How much space do you have to store your generator? Start thinking, can I commit a decent size space to a full size open frame generator in my garage? Or do I just have a little closet in the back of my shed that I want to store an inverter generator in? Or am I going to build a little pad outside of my house with say a little doghouse style to store the generator in? But give some thought, because the thing about a generator is you don't use it probably 99% of the time, and if you don't have a good committed space for it, you're going to be tripping over it all the time, every time you need to do work. So do you have a committed space for whatever size generator you want to buy? Is noise a concern? Now, if you're like me and you're right next door to your neighbors, maybe you don't want a great big open frame generator like I have. You're out in the country, an open frame generator or a whole house generator, something like that that makes a lot of noise, may not be a big deal. If you're going camping or you're right on top of your neighbors, an inverter generator, which tends to be a little quieter, might suit your needs. How important is an electric start? Spoiler alert, it's very important. I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how weak you are. Pulling over a generator, start it with a pull start, sucks at the best of times. I mean, it's great to have as a backup. Get yourself something with an electric start. So if you're asking yourself, do I want to spend a little more for something with an electric start? The answer is yes. How often does the power go out in your area? Does it go out once or twice a year and stay out for less than 4 hours? Then maybe all you need is a little 1,500 to 2,000 watt generator that you can cycle through your main important appliances. And to be honest, most people can survive 4 hours without a generator in most instances. But like I said, does it go out 5, 6, 7 times a year, or does it go out for a day or longer at a time? Then you're probably looking at something in that 8 to 10,000 watt range that'll run most everything in your house, so that you can keep your heat on, run your TV, run your fridge, something to cook with, maybe a 1,500 watt hot plate, or something I really like, the Instapot or an air fryer, things that use a bit of power but not as much as your full-on oven or stove. What am I using this generator for? So if it is just for home use and your area typically only has 1 or 2 power outages a year, then you might consider trying one of those generic entry-level generators. Now, if you're going to be running it 4, 5, 6 times a year, maybe the middle of the road. Now, if you're going to be running a food truck or you're going to be running some other business like a contracting business and you need reliable, durable, always on power, then something like a Honda or a Generac is the way you need to go. This wasn't a which generator should I buy. I wanted this video to be questions you can ask yourself to hopefully clarify exactly what your expectations are. Then go to 1 or 2 or 3 stores, talk to salespeople that you trust, go with things in your hand ahead of time, because what you're going to do is you're going to find out, maybe I don't need to spend as much money as I thought, or maybe this guy's trying to sell me more generator than I need. So just remember those. Ask yourself these questions when you first start shopping, and then go from there. Hopefully this is a good start. If you want to go deeper, I've got a whole playlist of generator videos. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can work your way through. If you have more questions, if you want me to do a follow-up deeper dive, I can do that. We can do it in the podcast, doesn't matter. But these are the questions to start with when you're ready to buy a generator. All right, guys, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it all the time. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.